I'm Greg Sullivan. I'm a senior product manager for Windows Phone at Microsoft.
Okay. Nice to meet you. And I have some question for you. So let's start. About the updates, right, for Windows Phone 7, you said that they will become much quicker, and instead they're coming a little bit slower than people expected. Do you know why this is happening?
When we launched Windows Phone 7 last year, we mentioned that we expected the first update to be available in early 2011, and we're still on path for that. We'll be near the end of the first quarter, but we expect in the first couple of weeks of March that we'll have the first update that will include copy and paste, support for CDMA networks, and some additional performance enhancements as well.
Okay, and what people were the first time they saw Windows Phone 7, they were expecting having Windows Live Messenger, right? And you didn't put in the system. You're thinking to put it in the future, or for now it's an option that is not meant for Windows Phone 7?
Well, you're right. It was not a feature that we had in the initial release. It is something that we're looking at. With Windows Phone 7, we really took a new approach to the smartphone space. It's different, not just from what we had before with Windows Mobile, but different from what the competitors in the marketplace were offering. So as we brought that to market, we had to make some choices about really doing a couple of fewer things really well. And so we focused on doing those things really well. And then over time, as we update the platform, you'll see the capability expand to new things like copy and paste coming within just a few weeks, support for some of the other features that were announced here at Mobile World Congress in terms of multitasking and IE9. So we'll continue to update the platform and add more capability over time.
So there is a chance that eventually Windows Live Messenger will be implemented in Windows Phone 7.
Nothing to announce today, but absolutely, yes. It's a key area of focus for our communications team, and it's something that we're looking at, yeah.
There's basically a big problem with Windows Phone 7 outside the US. Let's say in Europe, not everyone can get it. And will Nokia help you, especially with music and video?
Yes, it's one of the great things about Windows Phone is how cloud friendly it is and how well it integrates with services like the ones you mentioned. There are some cases where we don't quite yet have the global scale and availability of all those services. So if you know that somebody else in their region has that capability, it feels like you're missing something a little bit. And we are working very hard to bring those services to a more global. And yes, it's absolutely true that the partnership with Nokia will help us deliver some of those services more rapidly to a more global scale.
In every country you have to pay different royalties for the music that you're downloading or hearing or buying, right? And this is the biggest problem for Microsoft to overcome?
In the case of music, and yes, it does come to a licensing negotiation by region, and so those negotiations vary from country to country. And so there's a lot of work to do in terms of delivering a truly global service in that regard. I think this is an area that has been a strength in some cases for Nokia's services, and something that our partnership with them will help potentially accelerate that for us.
Cool. And when Microsoft will do a flagship device to show people what Microsoft meant for Windows Phone 7?
Well, I think we have several devices in market that are great examples of the idea that we had in mind. And you see a range of devices, some of which are slate form factors with very large screens, some with slightly smaller screens, slider keyboards, horizontal and portrait and landscape mode. So I think we see a range of devices, each of which demonstrates the idea of what we had in mind because of the guidance that we gave to OEMs with regard to the microprocessor and the screen dimensions and resolution. You see that this range of devices showing a whole bunch of different form factors, each one kind of exemplifies the idea that we have behind Windows Phone. So I think that they all really represent the range of possibilities.
So you're happy about what the phone makers are doing? Is that correct?
There are some great Windows phones in the market today, and we know that that manufacturers are working on more to come in the future. We look forward to the phones that Nokia will bring to market, and we think that there's just a broad range of exciting possibilities throughout all our OEM partners.
Let's talk a little bit about LG. LG seems to not getting it right with smart mode with Windows Phone 7. At the beginning they said yes, we will do it. Now at the conference they almost don't have any Windows Phone 7 to display, and they're blaming the low sales upon Windows Phone 7. And a lot of people are saying that this is wrong because their devices are just not pretty enough for people to buy.
Well, we think LG makes some great Windows phones. They've got the Optimus 7 here in Europe. We've got the Quantum and other devices in the U.S. We think they're making some great Windows phones. So we look forward to continuing to work with them as a partner and build on the success of the platform. Windows Phone is a new platform. It really is a brand new in terms of establishing a new platform, and it takes time for that to build up a critical mass. The thing that we're most excited about is the response that we've seen from customers. 93% of people that use Windows Phone are satisfied or very satisfied, and 90% would recommend it to a friend or family member. So we're seeing this platform just get its start and have over 8,000 applications, over 28,000 developers, and 1 million tools downloads. So it takes some time to establish a new platform, and we know that once that virtuous cycle continues, we'll see more innovation and more support for applications, and we feel very good about the long-term prospects.
And what about the background application that you showed yesterday? Can you explain how it really works? Because we saw that you can play a game, hit the back button, go do something else, and go back to the game. But the game is still constantly working in the background. Let's say I have an application that will display 10,000 times the name Microsoft, right? So I hit start, the application starts displaying, I go out of the application, do something else, come back. After 5 minutes, will the application went through all of this, or it will be stopped and then resumed?
The application you just described would be stopped and then resumed. What we showed yesterday was a couple of things. We showed very, very quick task switching. So you launch multiple applications. You want to switch between two applications in the case that was demonstrated yesterday, two applications, each of which is consuming a lot of resources in terms of CPU, in terms of memory, graphics processing. And those very rich, kind of power-hungry applications, we can switch very, very quickly between, instantly, really. We also showed the new user interface that lets you switch and choose which application you want to switch to and how rapidly that happens. Then we also demonstrated an audio application, Slacker Radio in this case, to show streaming audio. And in that case, a background audio agent continues to execute in background as you switch focus from the user interface from the currently running application. So that background audio, the music keeps playing. In that case, that application is continuing to execute in the background, but in the case of a background audio agent.
Right, so if I'm a developer, I can choose to make an application that will stop and pause for a moment, and I can do an application that will constantly still work?
What we demonstrated was an audio application,
right.
And that's the scenario that we talked about yesterday in the Mobile World Congress keynote. At our Mix conference in the U.S. in April, we'll talk about all of the platform capability and all of the choices that developers will have to take advantage of this new third-party multitasking capability. But what we demonstrated here at Mobile World Congress was just the fast app switching, that chooser app or user interface, and then also the background audio agent.
Okay, great. And so we have to wait for Mix to know all the details.
Yes, wait for Mix to hear more.
And how many handsets did you sold to customers? Do you have a number?
In the fourth quarter of 2010, so we launched in October in Europe and in November in the U.S. And in that time, till the end of the year, we sold 2.1 million licenses of Windows Phone to our OEM and mobile operator partners.
Okay, thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure.